Hello, and welcome to my book response video for the subject of UB00302, Reading and Writing in English, Section 7. I am Natalie Chong with the number metric of BP24110261. In this video, I will be discussing the book that I have read, which is The Great Gatsby, a timeless novel that explores themes of love, wealth, and the pursuit of happiness. As a short summary, this book has told the story of a man named J. Gatsby who becomes incredibly rich and throws a huge party just to reconnect with his old love, Daisy Buchanan. But the problem is, Daisy is already married to a wealthy but unkind man, Tom Buchanan. Here, the story is told through the eyes of Nick Carraway, who moves to Long Island in the 1920s and ends up living next door to Gatsby. As Nick gets to know him and the people around them, he realizes that having money and living a glamorous life doesn't always bring true happiness. In the end, Gatsby's dream of being with Daisy falls apart, and the story takes a very tragic turn. Next, I will talk about the main characters that pop up in this story, and each of them have played an important role. First, there's Nick Carraway, the narrator in this story. He's Gatsby's neighbor and becomes a close friend who tells us everything that happened. Then, we have J. Gatsby, a rich and mysterious man known for his grand parties, but deep down, all he really wants is to win back his old love, Daisy. Well, Daisy Buchanan is Gatsby's love interest. She used to be in love with him, but she's now married to Tom Buchanan, a wealthy man who is arrogant and controlling. Now, the question asks, did the main character run into any problems or adventure? And my answer is yes. The biggest problem in the story was Gatsby's dream of getting back together with Daisy, which he believed that he could repeat the past. But that dream only led to heartbreak. Well, things got even worse when Daisy accidentally hit and killed Tom's mistress, Myrtle, in a car accident. But instead of telling the truth, Gatsby took the blame to protect her. In the end, Gatsby was wrongly murdered by Myrtle's husband, while Daisy and Tom just left everything behind as if nothing had happened. This is what I say, that the story shows a very emotional and tragic turns of events. Continuing to the review, I would say that I could relate to Nick Carraway the most in this story. Like Nick, I also had some moments where I just observed situation and try to understand people around me, and thus I always prefer to stay honest and avoid getting caught up in a drama or a fake lifestyles, which also refers just like how Nick stays true to himself throughout the stories. Even so, I tend to feel the same kind of hope that Gatsby had in this story, which shows the feeling of wanting something so much that I work really hard to make it happen. But just like in the story, I have also learned that not everything turns out the way we wish. Sometimes, the best thing we can do is to let go and move forward. Next, move on to the next part that related to my own feeling toward these books. I really like this book because the story was emotional and the character was interesting. Other than that, it also made me think more deeply about lives, dreams, and how chasing the wrong things can lead to disappointment. Even so, if I could change something in the storyline, I would definitely change the ending. I really wish that Gatsby and Daisy had a second chance and expand their story in relationships, or at least that Gatsby did not have to die for something that he didn't even do. I really felt that Gatsby was deserved better after everything he went through. So, personally, I would definitely recommend this book to another person. As I read, I think this book is not just a love story, but it also teaches powerful lessons about dreams, truth, and how people can be very different on the inside compared to how they appear on the outside. Before end, the important lesson that I learned from this book is that wealth and status do not always bring happiness. Even though characters like Tom and Daisy had everything in terms of money, they were still careless, selfish, and dishonest. And here, the story reminded me that what really matters is having good values but not just a rich lifestyle. So that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Bye!
Hi everyone, My name is Tayang Munira binti Asmat. You guys can call me Moon. So my number matrix is UB00302. So the book that I choose for my book short response is The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby is a story about Jay Gatsby, a mysterious and wealthy man who throws an extravagant party in the Long Island. It was set in 1920, and Nick Carraway narrated an illusion of the wealth for Jay Gatsby to winning back his lost love, Daisy. So the main character of this book is Jay Gatsby, Nick Carraway, Daisy, Tom, Myrtle Wilson, and also the George Wilson. Gatsby, the main character did, which is when he tried to winning back his lost love, Daisy, through his wealth and status. So the Nick observed and narrated the event. But the Daisy wavered between the Tom and Gatsby at that time, but unfortunately, Tom exposed the Gatsby background and the Gatsby dream was collapsed, and he was murdered by George Wilson, who believed he responsibility about Myrtle's death. I could relate to Gatsby actually, like him. I have moments when I held onto the dream or hope, like to regret a perfect version of the past. When his determined and romantic idealism, even when it's unrealistic, remind me of the times when I chased something deeply meaningful, but it didn't work out as the way that imagined. I felt familiar to Gatsby in the way he held onto the hope, even when the odds were against him. I believe strongly in the dream and put effort into the making it so it can come true, but however, it didn't match my expectation. So I like this book actually because it's beautifully written, offered a deep insight into the human nature, social emotion to the readers actually. If I could change something, maybe I would change the Daisy reaction towards the Myrtle's death. I wish she took the responsibility about the Myrtle death instead of letting the Gatsby protect her and let the Gatsby face the consequences alone. I will recommend this book to another person because it's a powerful story about dream and also the reality. It is also provide a critical look about social and warmth. And the type of person I would like to enjoy this book, maybe a person who like a classic literature and social commentary will appreciate this book. So this book actually the ending is a deeply heartbreaking for me and also the readers, and it's tragic because of the Gatsby death. It was shot by the George Wilson, as I mentioned earlier, who missed by the Tom, who brings a sudden and so sorrowful close to the dream where the Gatsby had to pursue so desperately. It's unresolved because the Gatsby dies alone when no one friends attending his funeral that time, and the effect is leave the readers with a haunting sense of loss and also the reflection of the false promises of the dream. This book title have a deeper meaning actually when it's carried a layered and also ironic significance. It is a sense of the suggesting that Gatsby, a legendary one or the larger than that, much like magician or performer. So it was related to the story or it themes when the title reflects about the illusion, reality, or even a dream. So the last one where the Gatsby has to construct a glamorous persona, but behind it lies a man chasing an attainable dream. So that's all from me. Thank you for watching.
Hello everyone, my name is Felicity Leon Jeffrey. My number matrix is BP24110150. So today I will present my book response project, which is about The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby is a novel about a rich man named Jay Gatsby who is trying to win back his past love, Daisy, even though she is now married to an arrogant man named Tom Buchanan. There are four main characters in The Great Gatsby. They are Jay Gatsby, Daisy Buchanan, Tom Buchanan, and the last one is Nick Carraway. Jay Gatsby is a rich and secretive man who is still trying to win back his past love, Daisy. He throws a big party to try to get her attention so that she show up during the party. Daisy is Gatsby's old love, but now she is married to Tom. She is a pretty woman, but she is confused about her feelings. Tom Buchanan is Daisy's husband. He is rich, proud, and often treats people badly. The last one is Nick Carraway. Nick Carraway is the narrator of the story, where he observed the drama unfold as Gatsby is trying to rekindle with Daisy again. Yes, there were a lot of jealousy, cheating, and misunderstanding, which ended in Gatsby's death. Yes, I could relate to Nick Carraway because in my experience, I have been in situations where I observe other action and felt caught in the middle of their problems, and at the same time, I try to stay fair. Yes, of course, I have experienced moments where I really hope to meet someone from the past, similar to Gatsby longing for Daisy, and it reminded me that something can be bring back no matter how hard you try. Yes, of course, I really like this book because this book explores a lot of deep themes like the meaning of love and loss, and also I like this book because the writing style is beautiful. I would change the ending where Gatsby doesn't die and Daisy could give Gatsby a second chance, because I think Gatsby deserves to get a happiness after everything he had done. Yes, of course, I would recommend this book to another person because this book has many strong messages about life, love, and society. It makes you think deeply about what truly matters. I would recommend this book to people who enjoy emotional and thoughtful stories about life, love, and people's dreams. That's all from me. Thank you for watching.
Hello, my name is Nufaiza binti Ansar, BP 241100198. Today I will do a book responses of a novel, which is the title is The Great Gatsby. First, what was the story about? The story is about a man named J. Gatsby who is deeply in love with a woman named Daisy. Even though they had passed, Daisy is now married to someone else. But Gatsby become very rich and he throw big parties in the hope that Daisy will come back into his life. And the story is by Nick Carraway, who watches everything unfold as a dream, lies, and emotion that lead to a tragic ending. Who were the main character of the novel? The main character of the novel is J. Gatsby, Daisy Buchanan, Nick Carraway, Tom Buchanan, and Jordan Bakers. The main character run into any problem or adventure? Yes, Gatsby dreamed of repeating the past caused everything to fall apart. His belief the money could solve emotional problem was his biggest mistake. For my personal experience, after reading the novel, I could relate to Nick Carraway because sometimes I find myself being at the quiet one, just to observing people and trying to understand their action instead of getting involved. 2. Have you ever done or felt some of the things or the character did? Yes, I have felt pressure of wanting to prove myself like Gatsby did, but I also learned it's the hard way that not everything you wish for is meant to be happen. For my opinion, yes, I like the book because it didn't try to give a fairy tale ending like other novel did, but it showed how the painful truth behind dream and how people often chase things that are already gone. If you could change something, what would it be? I would change the ending because I wish Gatsby didn't die and instead he moved on with his life. It would have been great to see him find peaceful without Daisy. Yes, because it teaches how important lesson about love, dream, and how chasing the past can hurt us. And I will recommend this book to someone who enjoy thoughtful story about identity, ambition, and love. Also, I will recommend this to someone who doesn't mind a bittersweet ending. The main theme is the failure of American dream. The author showed this through Gatsby's effort to get rich and win Daisy back, but in the end, he doesn't succeed and dies alone. The character that experiences personal growth or change throughout the story is Nick Carraway, because at first he is impressed by rich people, but later he sees how selfish and careless they are, and he decided to leave that wood behind. That's all for my book review. Thank you.
Greetings everyone, my name is Nuratira Razira binti Rizal and my metric number is UB00302. I'm honored to present a book review on one of the most celebrated works in American literature, the novel The Great Gatsby, written by the author F. Scott Fitzgerald. First of all, the short summary of The Great Gatsby is set in 1922 and follows Nick Carraway, a young man from Minnesota who moves to Long Island, New York to learn the bond business. Nick rents a modest house in West Egg next to the lavish mansion of J. Gatsby, of mysterious millionaire known for his extravagant parties. Gatsby is a complex figure, charismatic and idealistic, yet involved in shady dealings to build his fortune. Nick acts as the story center and narrator, offering insight into the others while grappling with his own judgments. Daisy and Tom embody the privileged, upper-class, careless, and self-obsessed, while Jordan represents a cynical and dishonest socialite. In The Great Gatsby, the characters face problems that reveal their desires, flaws, and the harsh truth of the world. Gatsby's main struggle is his love for Daisy, whom he sees as the key to his happiness. A heated confrontation with Tom, Daisy's husband, shows the power of old money over new. The tragedy worsens when Daisy, driving Gatsby's car, accidentally kills Myrtile's husband, George, thinking Gatsby is to blame, then kills him before himself. Nick Carraway, the narrator, watches with growing disillusionment, seeing the emptiness behind wealth. This event exposed damage caused by obsession, ambition, and the failed American dream. No, I could not relate to any of the characters in The Great Gatsby because their lives are shaped by extreme wealth, social status, and moral ambiguity that are far removed from my own experiences. The characters often make reckless decisions driven by obsession, selfishness, and a desire for material success. No, I have never done or felt some of the things the character in The Great Gatsby experienced because their actions and emotions are often rooted in extreme wealth, obsession, and moral carelessness, which are very different from my own values and life experiences. Yes, I like The Great Gatsby because it is an interesting novel that vividly captures the glamour and complexity of the child's age. The story's exploration of themes like love, ambition, and American dream kept me engaged throughout. Yes, one of my favorite part in the novel, which Nick says they are a rotten crowd, you're worth the whole damn bunch to put together. To Jay Gatsby in chapter 8, during their final encounter before Gatsby's death, this statement encapsulates Nick's complex feelings towards Gatsby and the other characters. Nick calls people around Gatsby the wealthy elite like Tom and Daisy Buchanan and their social circle a rotten crowd because they are morally corrupt, shallow, and carelessness. In contrast, Nick tells Gatsby he is worth more than all of them, combined acknowledging Gatsby's unique qualities, his hope, determination, and capacity for dreaming even if his life is built on illusions. If I could change something in The Great Gatsby, maybe I would change the ending so that Gatsby realizes Daisy is not worth his time. Instead of holding on to his dream of being with her, he would move on and eventually find a better girl who loves him sincerely, not for his money or wealth, but for he truly is. Yes. Other than its beautiful writing and being my favorite book, I would recommend The Great Gatsby because it shows how chasing dreams without facing reality can lead to disappointment, and it explores the differences between appearance and the truth. The type of person who would like to read The Great Gatsby is likely someone who enjoys character-driven stories that explore deep emotions and complex relationships. It is also well suited for students and academics because the novel is also included in school curriculums. Gatsby, the protagonist of The Great Gatsby, is a self-made millionaire who was born poor as James Scott. His main strengths are his determination, ambition, and unwavering hope that he works tirelessly to achieve his dreams and never gives up on possibility of a better future. However, Gatsby's weakness include his obsession with the past, his idealistic and unrealistic view of Daisy, and his willingness to use dishonest means to achieve his goals. Fitzgerald's writing style also helps you to connect to the story and the characters because he uses clear and colorful descriptions. You can easily imagine the setting and feel the emotions of the people in the story. Fitzgerald's writing style also helps you to connect to the story and the characters because he uses clear and colorful descriptions. You can easily imagine the setting and feel the emotions of the people in the story. That's all from me. Thank you.